If you're watching this video, it's because you probably feel tired of promising to yourself that you're going to change, that you're finally going to break this endless cycle of telling yourself, I'm going to change, I'm going to change, I'm going to change, I'm going to change. And then 2 days later, 3 days later, 1 week later, you fall back again. And then you tell yourself again, now this time is the one. I'm finally going to really do the change. I'm finally going to break this cycle that is breaking me. But then, after a couple days, you fall back. And it seems like you can't break this cycle and that this cycle is just going to continue going for the rest of your life. And I know that after you finish doing the action, after you finish jerking off, you feel all this regret inside of your soul, all this pain inside of you because you told yourself that you was going to change. You promised that to yourself, but you broke the promise again. You broke your word again. Now you feel worthless. Now you don't have motivation at all. Now you don't want to go to the gym. Now you don't want to track your macros. Now you don't want to keep doing the actions and the habits that will get you to your goals. All that just for 5 minutes of pleasure. Was it worth it? Was it really worth it? And I'm telling you all these things because I've been there. I told myself over and over and over and over again that I was going to change. But I was repeating the same cycle over and over and over and over again, telling myself that I was going to change. But after a couple days, I went back to the same thing. And it was draining my soul. It was draining my energy. It was draining myself. So in this video, I'm going to give you the step-by-step. I'm going to give you the blueprint that I use in order to overcome this endless cycle. Because let me tell you something right now. You can put an end to this cycle. I'm telling you because I did. And if I did, you can too. So I want you to really analyze, internalize, and apply this information, because if you do so, you're going to break this cycle and finally set yourself free. The first step in order for you to break this cycle is to understand how important semen is. Semen, it's not just a white liquid that you have inside your body. I want you to answer this question. What energy can create life? How do we humans can create life? I know you know the answer. So it's not just a white liquid, it's an energy that can create life. So every single time that you are jerking off, you're literally pouring out that energy. You're wasting that energy. You're wasting your life energy. I want you to really analyze this. Pause the video one moment and really analyze this information that I'm giving you, that I'm sharing with you. Because when you really understand what semen is and you stop looking at it just like a white fluid, then you're going to start giving it the value that it really has. The second step that you need to implement is to change your self-beliefs, is to change how you view yourself. I want you to grab a pen and a white sheet in this moment and start writing down who you want to become. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, then write that down. If you want to be a Formula One professional driver, write that down. If you want to be a professional bodybuilder, write that down. I want you to really think about who you want to be, who your higher self is, and start writing that down with details. And I want you to do this thing every single day. As soon as you wake up, grab a pen and a white sheet and start writing that down. Start brainwashing yourself into believing who you are going to become. Start changing your beliefs. Start telling yourself, I'm the man who doesn't give in to his temptations. Start writing that down. And when you start changing your beliefs, when you start changing how you view yourself, you're going to start changing your actions because your actions are aligned to how you view yourself, to how you perceive the world. Now that you established who you want to become, now that you know who your higher self is, when you start feeling that temptation of jerking off, of going to Safari and typing up Pornhub or typing up X videos or whatever platform you go to, you need to remind yourself who you are. And in order for you to do this, you need to be very self-aware about what you're doing. Because we as humans tend to act automatically. We don't pause and analyze what we're going to do before doing the action. And that's why you start going with the flow. You start going with your feelings, with your pleasures, with what you want to do instead of what you have to do. But when you start being aware of your actions, when you start being aware of your thoughts, because every single action is backed up by a thought. First, you think about doing the action, and then you do the action. So, if you start being aware of your thoughts, you're going to be able to break the cycle because you're not going to be just moving with the flow, moving with the passions, moving with what you want. And when you catch yourself having those thoughts, when you catch yourself having those beliefs of, oh, I want these 5 minutes of pleasure, oh, I feel so bad, so I want to just forget everything and jerk off. When you start having those beliefs, you're self-aware and you detect that. So you tell yourself, okay, I'm having these thoughts. And in that moment, in that exact same moment, you need to remind yourself who you are. In that moment, you need to change your thoughts and start thinking who your higher self is. And think about all those moments that you gave in to the temptation, all those moments where you commit the action. I want you to think about how you felt after doing the action. And I want you to grab that feeling and ask yourself, do I really want to feel like this? Just for 5 minutes of pleasure? Ask yourself, is it a good trade? Am I trading all these things for 5 minutes of pleasure? Is that really who I am? And when you're aware of your thoughts, you're going to be able to do this, but that's the first step. Don't let yourself go with your feelings. And another action that will help you break the cycle is to pray. When you feel that temptation, get on your knees and pray. Ask God for strength, and He will give it to you. But if you never ask God for it, He won't give it to you. He wants you to ask. He wants you to pour out your heart and really ask from the bottom of your heart. God, change these things about me. Change these actions about me. Change all these things that are literally draining me, draining my soul, draining my purpose. And if you do that, if you really commit yourself to God, when you feel that temptation, you're going to be able to overcome it. You're not going to give in. Start implementing these knowledge, these steps that I just gave you. And I promise that if you really apply them, you're going to finally break the cycle. I promise you. Because I did them. And now I broke the cycle. I feel better than ever. I have more mental clarity than I've ever had. I'm more purpose driven than I've ever been. I feel more connected with God than I've ever felt. And all these just because I broke the cycle. So I want you to really apply this. And I promise that your life will change completely for the better. If you're really committed to change this and to break this cycle, I'm willing to work with 2 people. And if you don't know, I help people to overcome anxiety, depression, drug addiction through a proven method, a 4-step proven infallible method that will help you break free from all these things. So if you're really committed to do the change, if you're really committed to break the cycle, I'm willing to work with 2 people. Send me a DM through Instagram and I'll help you step by step until you break this cycle completely and forever. And I know that you will achieve it because I did. And I know you can too.